Okay, so let's talk about Kindle Direct Publishing. I am going to pretend to upload a book and go through all the steps with you, hopefully. And I'm going to try to do this as much real time as possible so that you guys can see how long it takes and how fast it is. Of course, you're going to have to think through some stuff and have some things prepared, but I'm going to hope that this makes sense. And if you have any questions, let me know. I'm going to try to walk through the whole process. So I'm not going to show you how to sign in and make an account, but of course you will need an account to do KDP. Oops, let's see if it'll log in. It's thinking. So the first thing you're going to have is your bookshelf, and of course I have some books already in KDP on the bookshelf, and then your reports will tell you how many books you sell, Community KDP Select, all these things I'm not going to talk about today. We are only going to focus on uploading your book. So if you want a video on anything else in the future, let me know. But right now we're going to focus on right here, creating a new title. So again, there's one other thing that you will probably be asked to do. I think you're required to do this before you upload a book. You need to set up your tax ID and all that jazz so that Kindle can pay you for the books you sell. So I believe they will make you go through that. It's pretty self-explanatory, and then you'll be able to pick one of these. So they are separate. You'll see a Kindle ebook and the paperback. These are separate, but there is a way to link them, and after you create one, you can kind of push all the info into the other type. So we'll start with an ebook, and we're just going to click create. And then once you get to this page, you're going to have 3 sections to fill out. So the details is pretty basic. You're going to need like your blurb and your title and all that stuff. The content is when you'll upload the cover and the manuscript, and then the pricing will be the last step. So, all right, let's try to do this really fast, and you can see how quick it is. English is pretty obvious choice for me. I'm not going to tell you the book title, but this is the Aladdin retelling. That's what we'll call it today. And it is in the Princesses and Castles series. By the way, also not the actual title, but for now, that is the name. And you can see how these are optional. So if you didn't have a subtitle, no big deal. You do not need one. And if you don't have a series set up, then you don't have to include that either. But if you do, then you'll want to include which number it is. When it comes to the edition number, this is something you never touch unless you're like me and you've published the book in the past, and then you know you have a second edition to put out, or a third, fourth, or fifth. So if it's your first edition, just ignore this. And if you have never put out the book before, yes, it's your first edition. You're going to put in your own name as the author. And then if there was another author, like if you were co-writing, you would actually add another author right here as a contributor. So the description is your blurb. And so I typed out a really basic little blurb right here that I'm going to copy and paste. I'm not going to let you guys read that because it's really cheesy. And then if you are the one who wrote the book, then you own the copyright, and the publishing rights are automatically yours as the person who wrote the book. If you were copying anything, I can't really even think of when you would use this, honestly. I have no idea when somebody would use this. I'm just being straightforward with you guys. And then for keywords, I thought, okay, princesses, castles, this is a fantasy book. I looked up on Amazon, and one of the categories on Amazon is myths and legends. It is an Aladdin retelling, so we'll include that. I'm trying to think of what my other keyword was that I wanted to try. Oh, I don't know if Ginny is the best, but we're going to put that one in right here. So your keywords are actually something that you're going to want to research on Amazon. You're going to want to go onto Amazon and look up what are some of the categories going on Amazon. And actually in the search bar on Amazon, you can look up what people are searching. And if you start typing things in, Amazon will actually start filling it out for you. Like if I type in dystopian, it would type in dystopian fiction or dystopian fiction bestsellers. Or if you type in like the name of a book, it might give you author's names. So I believe Amazon is a bit particular about using other book names and author names. So actually this might get me in trouble, and you'll find out. It will tell you if you're not allowed to. Then the next thing you're going to do is set up your category. So think of this like your library or your place on like a Barnes and Noble bookshelf. So this is juvenile fiction because it's young adult. And then it is fantasy. Let's see if I can find fantasy. I see dystopian. I feel like sci-fi and fantasy are sometimes lumped together and other times they're not. So bear with me here. This is always the trickiest part. Okay, fantasy and magic. Now, I believe you usually have, two categories. So you're going to want to use both categories because all the better. This is actually a fairy tale. It is, oh gosh, I don't know if it's an adaptation or not. Hold on. I have no idea if this is an adaptation or not. So for right now, I don't want to put it in anything that's not accurate. You would much rather people find you in an accurate category than find you in a different category and they didn't actually want your kind of story. Ooh, legends, myths, and fables. See, this could also be really cool. So I'm gonna actually struggle when it comes time to place my book in a category. But the good news is, after you pick these two categories, you can actually, from my understanding, you can call Amazon and ask to be placed in up to, I believe it's 9 categories. I might be wrong there. And again, Amazon is always changing things. So this is just for right now. I'm going to pick 2 categories. And then what I would do, honestly, if I were you, is call Amazon and see if you can add more categories. And typically, I think they would do that after publishing. They would not do that before you publish. Oh gosh, children's age. Oh, okay, yes, because it's young adult. I was like, children's. So I'm going for high school age. So this is the high school typical. We're going to say 9th grade into 12th. If you are writing young adult, this is the young adult category. And you could get more specific even. I don't have a lot of training or knowledge in this, so please do not quote me on if you should be more specific or less. I like to give it a range. But I do want to be really honest about what category it is. So I'm not going to put, age 1 through 18 because that's not accurate. If you were writing a middle grade book, of course, you would select the, well, here in the US anyway, it's 6th through 8th. So you kind of want to generally get the right age group for your book and be really honest. Now, this is again my personal opinion, but I think pre-orders are amazing. And so what I would do is set a pre-order out as far as it will let me. And Kindle right now, KDP lets you go 3 months out. So right now, February 23rd is the furthest out I could go. But I don't actually want to do a pre-order right now. So we're not going to choose that because I don't want to accidentally set it up. When you click save and continue, you're not publishing your book. Don't worry. So this next content is your manuscript and your cover. And so if you're just doing an ebook, you don't need a back cover. So I actually made a cute little cover using Canva in my downloads right here. Oh, shoot. Well, looks like that's not going to work out. Why don't I use one of my, I'll use one of my older mock-ups for Evelyn's number for you guys, and you can see what it looks like, what it could have looked like, one of the options. This is one that I did not want to use, but since my fake little princesses and castles cover that I made on Canva didn't work, it wasn't the right dimensions, we'll use this one instead. Okay, so it took it about a minute, and now let's just remember what this says here. Enable digital rights management. It's intended to inhibit unauthorized distribution of the Kindle file of your book. Some authors want to encourage readers to share their work and choose not to have digital rights management applied. If you choose to have it applied, customers will still be able to lend the book to another user for a short period and can purchase as a gift. From what I remember on my other books, I do like to enable the digital rights management, but you don't have to, and I know some authors who don't. You can use the Word document format here, which is really nice. You can also use the Mobi format, which I know authors who do. But when it comes to the paperback, you will need to have a PDF. And you'll notice that for the formats for Kindle, they actually don't want you to use PDF. So I'm going to actually use Evelyn's number as well. And you can see that I have an ebook version because I added hyperlinks to the ebook version, whereas I have a PDF for the paperback version. This one, I thought it was going to take longer. It only took a minute as well. Sometimes it takes a little longer, and it will take a little longer when it comes to the preview. So I'm going to come back to this in a second because the preview takes forever. Well, a few minutes is forever. So bad. So Kindle ebooks are not required to have an ISBN. This was really good information to know. I wish I'd known this sooner, but I used ISBNs in the past because I have purchased some, and I will have to look into if I want to use my own ISBNs in the future, but this is only if you are also your own publisher. Otherwise, you can use KDP and their free ISBNs provided. So I do have a publishing company, Grace House Press, and I'm going to pretend that I have an ISBN number. That's my fake ISBN number. They're not going to like this. If I click save and continue, they're not going to accept it. So for right now, we're going to leave these blank, and let's do the launch previewer. Dang, this is really fast. Okay, so the Aladdin retelling has Evelyn's number as the cover, but it's kind of fun to look at. I thought you guys might enjoy seeing that. And then you're going to actually see it, how it would look on an actual Kindle. And this is Evelyn's number. If you guys have read it, you know this is just what the interior looks like if you were to pull it up online. And so you can actually go through and check the whole book. So let's see if I just go to, let's say second to last page. There's my author page. Okay, so then, oh, here we go. The tablet, the phone, or the Kindle e-reader. So there actually are options to check what would this look like on the phone. So let's go back to the very first page. And you can see, okay, it looks kind of chunky. And that's good to know. It's always good to check. Like, hey, maybe I want to make this a little smaller so it doesn't look so dumb. Let's see what it looks like on the Kindle e-reader. That looks beautiful. That looks really nice. For whatever reason, these pictures show up really small, whereas they're much bigger in the book. And you can also see how things are hyperlinked. So if I was to click on that, it would actually take me to my webpage right there. Okay, so let's go back from this. We're just going to go back to book details to continue the process. So let's pretend we looked through every single page, because honestly, that's what we should be doing. If you were actually publishing, you would want to check every single page and make sure that it looks good. I love that they do a spell check for you. That is super awesome. There are a few times when it will come back with a spelling error because it doesn't like the links to like websites and stuff, but right now it's happy. So then the last step is pricing. And this will be interesting for you guys to see, I think. Okay, so here's the last page. The Enrollment Kdp Select is something that you definitely want to do your research on. It's changing all the time, but basically what it means is that you're electing to make your ebook, not your paperback, but your ebook exclusive to Kindle. Right now I do this, but I'm actually looking into other options, and I might remove my ebook from Kdp Select and try some other options, like the Barnes & Noble Nook Press. And so let's say for right now, yes, I'm going to enroll my book in Kdp Select, and you can pull your book out. I think they have a learn more button for how long it takes to pull your book out. But when you do Kdp Select, you actually can, it says reach more readers and earn more money, maximize and all that. But this basically means that people who pay for Kdp Select, I believe, can read your pages for free, and then you get paid per page. So you get some money when people read by pages. And then also you are eligible to do some of the Amazon ads, which is really nice. But if you wanted to have your ebook anywhere else, then you would just not select that. And you can also opt into this later if you want to. So let's say I've decided I want to think about it and maybe opt in later. You can always opt in right here and just go to that page and learn all about it. And then, okay, so select the territories for which you hold distribution rights. Okay, so we are the ones who wrote our story, which means we have distribution in all territories. My understanding is actually that sometimes publishers, traditional publishers, will only buy for like the US, And so then you would no longer own the rights, but maybe you could publish in other countries. I don't fully know. Again, don't quote me on that. But then here comes the royalty and pricing section. So you can see how there's two options. You can get 35% royalties or 70%. If you choose the 35% option, you are able to sell your books for much lower pricing, as low as 99 cents. But you only get a 35% royalty if you choose to do that. If you want a higher royalty of 70%, your ebook actually has to be $2.99 through $9.99, which is very interesting to me. When I ran sales, it kind of bummed me out because I wanted to sell my book for 99 cents or even $1.99. And I believe Evelyn's number is, let me just check. Yes, Evelyn's number is $1.99 to buy right now. So I actually have it on the 35% royalty, which is kind of a bummer. But I wanted you guys to be able to get it for a good price and have this sale through Cyber Monday. And then I'll probably put it back to 70%. So let's see the lowest, the $2.99, if you were to sell it. And this will actually depend on page count, and it depends on, they have a little delivery charge, so 12 cents to deliver that many pages to somebody's inbox. So your royalty is $2.01. On the other hand, if you go to the high range, the $9.99, say you decided your book is worth $10 as an ebook, which is pretty steep for an ebook, unfortunately. This would be really nice because an ebook gets a great royalty compared to paperbacks, like way better. But $6.91 is what you would make on that. So they are taking a percentage. And let's say your typical, I feel like I see a lot of $3.99 ebooks. So you would make about $2.71. So you can play around with this for your own book, and you will see different royalties based on what your current page count is. Now, obviously, I threw in a manuscript from Evelyn's number, which I think is about 300 pages, and that's not the manuscript. Like, when it comes to this, it'll be a different royalty for this actual book. Kindle Matchbook is optional. I currently, give customers who purchase your print book the option to purchase your Kindle ebook for $2.99 or less. This is really cool. Now, I have done this once when I bought a book and then I really wanted to read it right away. It was like another $1 to buy the book, but typically I don't see people doing this very much. So I have never enrolled in Kindle Matchbook, but you could if you want. The next option is Kindle Book Lending. Again, optional. Allow your customers to lend your ebook after purchasing it to family and friends for a duration of 14 days. This says it's locked for me. Let's see. Oh, okay. Titles with 70% royalty option are required to be enrolled. So I guess I have always been enrolled in this, and as long as I'm at 70%, I'll always be enrolled in this automatically. Terms and conditions, this is really important to know. It can take up to 72 hours for your title to be available for purchase. So if you are doing a launch day, this can get a little bit tricky to make your decision. Do you upload early and then possibly your book will say it's uploaded to Amazon earlier than you really wanted it to be? I say it's better to do that than for your book to be late, because when I released Pearl's number, I did this around like 8 p.m. the night before, and it actually came back with some errors, which I will walk back up to in a second. I want to point that out to you. But it came back with some errors and it was not released. And so if I hadn't had Ingram Spark as well, my book would not have released on the day that I wanted it to. So before I jump back to show you that little button, I just want to point this out. By clicking Publish Now, I confirm I have all the rights necessary, blah, blah, blah. You can read all the conditions if you want. When you click this button, oh gosh, I scared myself. When you click this, it will publish. And ebooks publish immediately. The paperback is much trickier. That one can have some errors, but ebooks typically, this is going to go up really fast. So just be very, very, very careful. This is not save. Click Save as Draft. Be very careful of this button here unless you actually want it to publish. Let's go to Pearl's number right here. And by the way, once you have it all set up, you can save it. Like this says continue setup because it's been saved as a draft. And then if you're wanting to link an existing paperback, such as the one I had on Ingram Spark or the one I had on CreateSpace in the past, that's how you would do that here, by pulling up the ISBN number of the paperback you set up. Or now, when you set up in KDP, you would click this option right here and create a paperback as well. But so these books are live, but you can still go in and change them. I'll just run through this really quick because I think you guys would enjoy it. These are your 3 sections that we just went through. But once you have the book set up, you can also request proofs. You can request author copies, and you can promote and advertise, which is that KDP Select option. You have to be enrolled in KDP Select, from what I understand. Just so you know, proofs come with that awful, disgusting bar across the front cover, but the author copies are just like the ones that your readers get, the beautiful, finished book, and they are for much cheaper than if you were to buy your book on Amazon. So always try to use your author copies option. It's like $5 versus $15. You can take your book off, and you can unlink if they were, say, accidentally linked, like if I linked the Aladdin retelling to Pearl's number somehow, you can unlink that. So let's go into the ebook. Paperback. That's why it wasn't showing up, because only in the paperback will you see this little note on the back bar. Oh, by the way, for paperback, this I guess is an ebook tutorial, but when you come to the paperback, you will also have your print option. So this is something I didn't walk you through. But you can choose what color paper you want, cream, white, and if you had color, you could choose that. I can't change anything because it's published already. The trim size I have right now is 5.25 by 8, and you have lots of amazing little helpful tips on KDP where they'll help you walk through it. And let's see, I have it on bleed, which just means that everything goes right out to the edge. That's for my map. And then I use a matte cover, but you could do a glossy cover. Okay, here we go. This little box right here is what tripped me up and kept my book from publishing for almost 2 days, I think, until they got back to me and helped me out. So it says, check this box if the cover you're uploading includes a barcode. If you don't check the box, we'll add a barcode for you. For whatever reason, I had this box checked. I don't know why. I do have my cover designer, I hope you guys can see this, she did create this back for Ingram Spark, and then Ingram Spark, the cover designer and Ingram Spark worked together and create this little barcode here, so I did have a barcode. That may have been why I clicked this button, or maybe when I uploaded it with that little box, they checked this for me. But whatever the case may be, I did not notice this at all because I'd never done a paperback on KDP before. This little box really tripped me up, so make sure that you're very careful to uncheck it if it's been checked for you, because there's no reason that you should have a barcode. They can add a barcode for you, which they did right here. So just for kicks, let me also show you how to create a paperback. All right, so when I clicked create a paperback under the Aladdin retelling, it linked everything in, which is so awesome. I love this. I don't have to do anything. I just save and continue. Okay, so here you could choose to do the free ISBN, or you could choose to use your own and input that in your publishing company here. That's the imprint. The publishing date is when you're going to release it. Here is the standard print options before you go in and make your changes. So like I have white paper preference. I have a different size preference. Actually, this book I'm hoping to do even smaller. I probably will have a map, so I'll need a bleed, and I think I'll stick with a matte cover. So then that section's filled out. I would upload my manuscript, and then right here, let's just show you how the cover creator works, because this is really fun. I would not recommend you using the cover creator, but I'll just show you for kicks. They actually have some really fun designs, but I still wouldn't recommend it because it's gonna look funky. But let me show you. So you can see how they have all these different formats, and they took the picture that I gave them right here, and oh my gosh, that's too funny. Some of them are really awful, but if you scroll through, some of them won't use a picture and they'll have different backgrounds. Oh my gosh, this is just really ugly. But then again, I made this picture, so that's pretty ugly by itself. And I believe you could technically use all of this and set up your cover. Say for me, I'm considering making a proof copy so that I can send myself a proof copy to actually read through. So I would actually use this basic cover and spruce it up a little to reflect everything. And then I would be able to buy one of those proof copies with the bar across it, and I could actually proofread my book or even just edit my book holding an actual physical copy, which I think is really cool. And I've seen one other author do this, so I'm going to save it for kicks, even though that is Latin on the back. Okay, so there you go. I have a Kindle ebook started, and I have a draft for the paperback. And of course, if I want to delete them, which I do because they're not accurate, then I can go and delete them there, or I could continue setup. But this is how you do Kindle Direct Publishing. So I hope this helped you guys. Let me know if you want me to like go through the other publishing companies that I'm considering using. I know I want to look into like Nook Press, Kobo, into Google Play, and there's like an iApple or iBooks, something with Apple. So anyway, I want to look into all of that. And if you guys are curious, I could definitely walk you through what I think after I've tried them all. And yeah, just let me know what you think. I hope this has helped you, and I hope it shows you how easy it is to upload to KDP. Super fun. Enjoy.